Part 4. Paul wanted to see Maria. He wanted to talk to her. I'll go to the house on the hill, he thought. Perhaps Maria will be there. But the house on the hill looked empty. There were no curtains at the windows. There was a big notice on the gate. It said, "For sale." Paul looked over the gate. There was nobody in the garden. Everything was quiet. I'll get into the house and look round, he thought. Perhaps I'll find Maria's address. Then I can write to her. Paul pushed open the gate and went up the steps to the house. It was very quiet. He pushed at the front door. It was closed. He walked round the house. There was a window open. Quickly, Paul climbed through the open window. He was excited, and his heart was beating fast. He was in Maria's old home. He remembered her mother. He remembered that terrible evening. But the house was different now. There was no furniture in the room. There were no carpets and pictures. It was empty. Paul felt a little afraid. Is anybody in the house? He thought. No. He did not hear anything. Quietly, Paul went to the door of the room and opened it. There was nobody there. He went from room to room. All the rooms were big, and they were all empty. At last, he came to a very big room. He stopped. He knew this room. He had met Maria's mother here. He remembered everything. The old woman, her hard face, the big rings on her hands. And now the old woman was dead. Suddenly, Paul heard a noise. Somebody was inside the room. The door opened. Somebody was standing in the doorway. It was a woman. "Maria," said Paul. "Paul," Maria said, "what are you doing here?" "I was looking for you," said Paul. "You were looking for me?" asked Maria. She smiled. "Maria," said Paul, "why did you marry that man?" "Mother was old," said Maria. "I was unhappy here. I never went to parties, never went out. I wanted money. I wanted a good time and friends." "I understand," Paul said. "You were not afraid of your mother. You were tired of her. She was old, and you wanted a new life. But why did you leave your husband?" "My husband," said Maria. "That fat old man. He was stupid, Paul. He gave me money, he gave me jewels, a car, everything. But he didn't like my friends. He liked old people. I like clever, young people, Paul. I like you. You understand, don't you?" "Yes," said Paul slowly. "I understand now." "I'm glad," said Maria. "I was unhappy about you, Paul. I liked you. I liked your funny poems." "My funny poems," said Paul. He stopped. "You loved me, didn't you, Paul?" said Maria. "Do you still love me?" "You are married," said Paul. "You have a husband." "But I don't love him," said Maria quickly. "I want to be free. I want to go to parties and enjoy myself. Come with me. I have money now. We'll be happy together." "No," said Paul. "No. Everything's over." Maria was angry. Her eyes were small and cold, and her mouth was thin and hard. Her hands were covered with big rings. Maria looked like her mother. "I'm sorry, Maria," he said. "I don't love you any more. I loved you very much, but now everything is different. Goodbye, Maria." "But you can't leave me," said Maria. "I want you." "Go back to your husband," said Paul. He looked at her for the last time. Then he turned and walked out of the room. Paul left the house on the hill and walked home. He was free. I was a fool, he thought. Maria never loved me. How stupid I was. Maria is beautiful, but she is hard and cold. She is like her mother. I loved Maria's beauty, but I never loved Maria. It was a lovely evening. Paul felt very happy. The door of the little brown house was open. His mother was at home. She was talking to a pretty girl. "Paul," she said, "this is your cousin Elsa." "Hello, Elsa," said Paul. He smiled.